Good afternoon, dear colleagues. We are holding another seminar on regional economics. Today the theme is the drivers of structural changes in the economy. And speaker is the researcher Leonidova. Please, 10 minutes? 7 minutes.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. It's nice to see all of you here today. And let me introduce my report about the drivers of structural changes in the economy. Scientists note that at present the achievement of economic growth in the country is associated with stimulating consumption, in particular an increase in domestic consumer demand and an investment policy. In this regard, there is no for research and scientific justification for the activation of sectors, the increase in demand for products of which ensures structural changes in the economy. Modern economic policy does not fully use the potential of industries such as engineering, tourism, and the information and communication technology sector, whose contribution to the formation of the tax base, increasing employment, and stimulating economic activity is quite high. The choice of industry drivers of economic growth is due to their high multiplier effect. According to our calculations on the basis of the intersectoral balance method, the multiplier for the engineering is 2.7, for the service sector, tourism, and the information and communication technology sector are of the greatest importance. Meanwhile, the development of these industries in the context of structural transformations of the economy is significant enough, which is confirmed by the results of scientific research. In this regard, the purpose of the research is to identify the need to stimulate sectoral drivers of economic growth, which can contribute to structural changes in the economy at the national and regional levels. Recently, more and more attention has been paid to the problems of structural transformations of the economy in scientific research, which confirms their relevance. We propose to use a cross-sectoral model of the economy to carry out alternative calculations and assess changes in the volume of production of goods and services, the number of employees, the wage fund for certain economic activities, and the economy as a whole, under a reduction or increase in the final demand for the products of one of their activities. That is, the model makes it possible to see what will happen to the economy if we stimulate demand for a particular product, how much the output of goods and services will increase in the industry and in the economy as a whole, and to what extent it is necessary to increase the number of employees and the wage fund. The results of the study revealed the problems of the development of engineering, the ICT sector, and tourism. It should be noted that we can talk about the positive impact of the process of structural changes in the country's economy. And the results of the study also confirmed the great development potential and significance for the economy. The priority development of the considered industries for the Russian economy is fixed in strategic documents and development programs. The indicated target indicators of the considered sectors made it possible to calculate the average annual growth rate as well as to determine the dynamics of development of these sectors. And as you see on slide, calculations based on the front intersectoral model made it possible to determine the importance of stimulating these industries for the economy of the country. Despite the positive effect for the economy caused by the stimulation of these areas, it is noteworthy that the effect of the activation of engineering and the sector of information and communication technologies in comparison with the tourism industry is not so pronounced. The reason for this is the fact that in the formation of the product resources of these sectors, mainly imported products are used, while the formation of gross value added of tourism is formed at the expense of own resources. Thus, further stimulation of these sectors will most likely develop not the Russian economy, but the national economy of the foreign countries. The tools used made it possible to determine the distribution of the effect of stimulating these industries in a territorial context. In particular, the increase in output by federal districts was calculated. You can see it on this slide. The results of the calculations showed that the Central Federal District will experience the greatest effect from stimulating engineering, the ICT sector and tourism, which is quite expected and is due to the fact that Moscow is a federal city located here, which is a center of attraction for tourists, both domestic and foreign, as well as a leader of the development of communications and information technologies in the country. Due to this, this district is significantly ahead of other territories. So the lack of its closest neighbor, the Volga Federal District, is almost 2 times. So, thus, an assessment of the distribution of the effect across the country and territory led to the conclusion about the importance for the economy of stimulating industries, which are considered as drivers of economic growth. The study allowed us to draw the following conclusions. Firstly, the stimulation of engineering, the ICT sector and tourism make a positive contribution to the country's GDP growth rate. The increase in demand for products of only these 3 sectors for 2019-2024 additionally activates economic growth by 4.1%. It should be borne in mind that a significant problem in this process is that predominance of foreign products in engineering and the digital industry. It seems that the creation of conditions for the production of high-quality domestic equipment will further increase the contribution of these sectors to the economy. Intensified development of driver industries will make it possible to complicate the structure of the Russian economy in the direction of increasing the share of high-value-added industries producing high-tech products, as well as increasing domestic consumer demand for goods and services. Secondly, the results of the intersectoral modeling made it possible to evaluate the effect of stimulating the driver industries in the spatial aspect. They observed a significant territorial imbalances in the direction of the Central Federal District, which will receive the greatest effect from the projected growth in demand for engineering products. The ICT sector and tourism dictate the need for a more rational and efficient development of these remaining territories. It is worrisome that a number of regions were among the outsiders in terms of the effect generated by driver industries, which indicates the need for a policy review regarding the balanced development of territories, including in relation to a more rational investment policy. Thirdly, in order to intensify the demand for goods and services of the driver sectors under consideration, it is necessary to implement a set of measures to remove restrictions on their development, which is possible due to the formation of additional consumer demand for domestic products. And finally, the formation of demand for goods and services of engineering, the ICT sector and tourism require ensuring the necessary level of investment. Sources for strengthening the investment component may be funds generated as a result of the redistribution of income from the export of raw materials, the attraction of financial resources of the population and the budget, as well as the creation of attractive conditions for investing business in these sectors. To sum up, it is worth noting that in Russia and its regions there is potential for the development of industries, which must be used to change the existing structural imbalances. The development of the engineering industry, the ICT sector and tourism contributes to accelerating GDP growth, increasing the efficiency of the economy of the country and its region in a long term. That completes my presentations. Thank you, and I'll be happy to answer for your questions.
Thank you. What questions do listeners have? I have one question. Ekaterina, why did you decide to focus your research on engineering, tourism, and the information and the communication technology sector?
Thank you, Maria, for your question. And as I said before, these industries were chosen because they have a big multiplier effect for economy, such as the multiplier for engineering, as you see on slide, is 20.4, and others. In other research, you can see the other sectors, for example, the construction and other sectors. But in we made a calculation, and we determined the multiplier effect, and we determined that these sectors must be a driver for economy.
This fact is about Russia or world region?
Russia, for Russian economy.
Thank you. Anything else? Questions?
Ekaterina, thanks for interesting reports. I have a question. What does mean driver in your research?
Okay, thank you for your question. In my opinion, driver sectors is the sectors which we can stimulate, and we can increase the demand in these sectors, and thus we can stimulate the economy as a whole.
Thanks for your answer. I understand you, and I have one more. In your opinion, what economic sector, except the ones you reviewed in there, can be the most effective driver for economic growth?
As I said before, there is a lot point of view about the drivers of structural changes. For example, also construction, but in our research, these three industries were chosen as drivers of economic growth. It needs to make a estimation to know which sectors we can say about it that drivers of structural changes. If you know what I mean.
I think that we can speak about it privately. Thank you for your answers and good luck in your further research.
Thank you.
Thank you for your opinion. Do you have any questions? No question? Okay, next we have two reviewers and experts. I am a reviewer, one of reviewer. I would like to say thank you for inviting me to this seminar as a reviewer. The relevance of the theme of drivers of structural changes in the Russian economy does not cause doubts, especially in the modern conditions of searching for ways of transition to a new type of economy. The adapted advantages of the report is a combination of theoretical and analytical aspects, as well as the study of foreign experience. In the report, I would like to see in more details the answers to the following questions. One question I asked one more question. What does it mean to stimulate drivers industries? What methods, what tools, and public methods or private methods?
Okay, thank you. That is a very interesting question, and I think in this process there is a big role of the state and to stimulate these drivers, it means the increase in demand for products in these sectors, and so thus it changes the structure of economy.
Public or private?
Public.
Okay. Second question. Have you estimated the volume of financial stimulating for engineering, tourism, and information and communication technology sector? What is the effectiveness? Perhaps these values are higher than projected GDP growth. Maybe not.
Thank you. No, we didn't rate this estimation, but it's very good idea for my next research, and thank you for it.
So I would like to wish you success in further research. Thank you very much for your report. And other reviewer is Елена Александровна. Александровна рядом сидит. Какого Александра? На вашем.
Можно без отчества на английском тогда. Okay. Also, I would like to thank Kate for a comprehensive report. It's obvious that the author has conducted a substantial work. No doubt that the topic of the research is urgent and relevant. The report is well structured. It contains all the main parts. The material and information is presented logically, and in conclusion the author makes some suggestions to change the current situation. But I would like to ask the reporter to comment several moments to get the right impression on the situation. One of my questions was connected to the notion drivers, as Marina has already asked. I will pass to the next one. So in your report, you say that the development of these industries in the context of structural transformations of the economy is significant enough, which is confirmed by the results of scientific research. So the question is, what research studies can confirm that? Could you give maybe some examples, please?
Okay, there is a lot of this research in this sphere.
Just maybe surnames.
Okay. Shira, for example, and Linchuk and others, Russian researchers, which which make a
great contribution.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. As the author rightfully mentions, the dependence on foreign equipment in the ICT sector and in the machine building industry is quite strong. But do Russian companies have any other competitive variants to use, and can our local equipment replace the foreign one at present?
The situation is complicated, and in ICT sector and engineering, there is a lot of foreign equipment, and it needs to make efforts to change the situation from the state, first of all, and to realize the investment policy in these two sectors. And we calculated that if we will be use our local equipment, it give more economic effect than we have now.
Okay, thank you. One more point to mention is you have made calculations regarding the effect distribution of stimulating the industries in a territorial context.
Yes.
And it goes without saying that Moscow is like above all other cities and regions in Russia. So maybe to get a clear picture on the distribution, maybe it's better to examine federal districts without Moscow, maybe without federal cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg, and just apart from them. And maybe could you express your opinion, please?
Thank you for your idea. Maybe it will be more it will can help the situation without such a federal city as Moscow and St. P. But now it is
complicated to separate.
Yes. One of the conclusion is that fact that Central Federal District have a big effect from the stimulation of these sectors, and it's not good for economy and for national economy and for regional economy too.
Okay, thank you very much. And to sum up, I would like to thank Kate for the performed work, and I wish you luck and success in your further researches.
Thank you very much, Elena.
Thank you, Lena, for your review. Our expert is Ksenia Ustinova, PhD in economics.
Thank you, Ekaterina. The relevance of the study of the issue related to the structural changes in the economy is emphasized. It is shown that currently there is a decline in economic growth, which is partly due to the dominance of the fuel and energy sector in the economy. Attention is drawn to the fact that our economy, the monostructure of the economy is associated with the creation of conditions for the development of new sectors, in particular engineering, tourism, or ICT sector. The report is presented the theoretical and methodological foundations of the study, the method of intersectoral balance for intersectoral modeling of the economy, the contribution of mechanical engineering, tourism, and information and communication technology to GDP growth was estimated, as well as the contribution of these industries to the growth of the number of employees and the wage fund. It should be noted that the report is presented on the topical and written at the high scientific level. I would like to ask a few questions. The result of your analysis showed that there will be significant theoretical proportions in the distribution of the predicted effect. There will be a concentration of the predicted effect in the Central Federal District. How your opinion of view, how can this significant be changed?
Okay, thank you. In my opinion, to change this situation, it's important to realize the policy for stimulating economic activity and in other regions, not only in Central Federal District. For example, tourism will be developed in other district, because Russian regions have a huge potential in this sphere. That's all.
Yes, in the final part of the report, among the activities you named the formation of demand for goods and services of engineering, ICT, and tourism. How can this trend be implemented in practice? How to ensure that domestic goods of these sectors are competitive compared to foreign goods?
Thank you for the question. I think it is necessary to realize first investment policy, especially in engineering and ICT sector, because they have a big role of foreign equipments, and it's necessary to develop these sectors stimulating our own industries and equipment. That's all.
Thank you, Ekaterina, for your interesting report. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ksenia. Maybe somebody have a question? No? Thank you all for participating, and please fill out the questionnaire. That's all.
За полчаса. Бывало семинар. Нормально все, но такой же вопрос.
Мысли сходятся.
Это пустое.
Изменили специально.
Ничего, попрактиковалась.